Welcome to the Ellis Talker Show. If you enjoy our content, please like or subscribe.
Hi, welcome to the Ellis Talker Show. I'm DB LeBron. Do you have things you want to get done around the house, maybe a construction need? Check out K&H Construction. My good friend Chris Helms out in Waxahachie, local man. Support local business. He'll take care of you. Let him know DB LeBron sent you. So today, my very special guest is Mr. Chris Aguilar, who is in UNITE Ellis. How you doing, sir?
Good. How you doing, DV?
I'm good. You know, I wanted to have you on because I want to know basically what UNITE Ellis is and, you know, the organization that you represent. And then, you know, I've been a small part of participation on the veteran side and kind of wanted to talk about that and what UNITE Ellis is doing that. But first, can you tell the audience about you?
Absolutely. So I am the county champion of UNITE Ellis. We've been going strong for about 4 years now. Started as a grassroots effort of connecting businesses, churches, nonprofits, education, and government, all to get in the room together, to help one each other out, all for the sake of helping Ellis County thrive. So we do that through network meetings. We have 9 groups that meet monthly. 6 of them are geographic and 3 of them are topic specific. You mentioned the military community where we met, and then also we have mental health and housing. And it all started with the Waxahachie Project back before COVID. And a bunch of people got together and said, you know, what are the gaps in our community? Some of those 3 main areas initially was mental health, housing, and then the third one was collaboration. And so Anna Hammonds, she was kind of the brainchild of all this once Waxahachie Project, which then launched off to the Midlothian Project, and then all of that kind of dissolved. She went to Unite DFW under the executive director, Rebecca Walls, and started Unite Ellis, which works autonomously under the nonprofit umbrella of Unite DFW. And so, yeah, we get to work with amazing people all across the county, leaders in all their specific spheres of influence. And the cool thing is nobody has to work in a silo anymore because we do better together.
Absolutely. I mean, it sounds like a great organization in gathering different resources. What got you there? I mean, like, what brought you to it, like, in your background?
Absolutely. So, um, interestingly enough, I'll go back 2 steps. Um, I grew up in a very dysfunctional home. And so what my family was one of the families that received resources from the community, whether they were groceries or CPS was like aunties and uncles to me at Christmas time. In fact, they gave me my first gaming system back in like 1994. Uh, that's what I said. I got to have a fondness for Legend of Zelda, you know. But yeah, so I was one of
Yes.
those families. I was one of those families in the community that was helped by the community. So as I, got, into grew up doing different jobs, I ended up going to Bible school, getting a ministry degree, and working at several churches.
Wow.
And so one of those churches I ended up at working full time was the Lighthouse Midlothian. And in 2021, when Anna started Unite Ellis, originally she came to our church and was like, hey, would you be willing to adopt a school? And so at that time was Vitofsky School in Midlothian. And we were totally committed. That was my heart, is community outreach. And so we, blessed the teachers. We helped the students every chance we get. We got backpacks for the kiddos. And during back to school time, it was shoes and binders and folders and working with Manor House. But then, as you probably know, when you do a lot, you're asked to do more, right? So I was then asked to become Midlothian City Champion. And then at the end of 2023, my wife and I sensed another transition in our lives. And so during that transitional period, left the church, and Anna took me on at the county level in January of 24.
Wow. So, I mean, you've had quite an adventure, such need growing up. And I understand that was me in the 80s in New York. That was kind of the experience, things were really tough, but you endured that, and God is good. And then you followed God all along the way. And how does your faith inspire you while doing this?
I mean, yeah, absolutely. So number one commandment is love the Lord your God with all your heart, all your soul, all your strength. And number two commandments like that is to love your neighbor. And so the best way to love your neighbor is to, be in the thick with them, live life relationally with them. We talk about Unite Ellis a lot about overcoming relational poverty or spiritual poverty. And honestly, before financial poverty ever hits, it's a breakdown of the family unit. And so we work really hard to make sure like kids stay in the home. We work really hard that when there is a breakdown in the support structure, like how can we build a new support structure around people? Because for us, it's not just about like putting on a band-aid. It's not just about meeting people in their crisis, but it's about creating that long-term pathway from crisis to flourishing so that they can become self-sustaining.
Right. Well, I mean, that is a great thing because we know statistics tells us that when you have a whole home, mom, dad, kids, whenever that stuff is possible, things flourish. Things do better.
Mm.
The statistics bear it out. When you have a whole home, sometimes those things they break up. They for different and various reasons, and that can cause some serious issues. And working to prevent that is a good thing. Now, tell me what got you on the veteran side? How did that come about with Unite Ellis?
Yeah, so last year, we're always asking the question, what does the community need? So it's never like we go in and say, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that. Like one of the things that we do is installing like food programs in schools for students. So like for example, like mini pantries. But that wasn't something Unite Ellis came up with. That was something Manor House came up with that we said, hey, if this is going to be in Midlothian, this should be in the rest of the county. So now we have 44 out of 67 schools that all have some sort of snack packs or mini pantries or food boxes or hygiene stuff. So I say all that to say, like, we're always asking, what does the community need? What organization can we support? So a lot of different military organizations were coming to us during the spring of 24. And with the same question is just like, hey, I'm doing this thing, but like, I don't know who else is out there. Nobody knew what the resources were for the military community in Ellis County. And so we started meeting together with like the Veterans Treatment Corps with Brent Dura. We started meeting with Sean Flannery with the Marine Gunners Association. We got hooked up with the Texas Veterans Network with Crystal Kasuba. And we got hooked up with the VA through a woman named Betty. And we got hooked up with the VFW through Jennifer, who's local in Waxahachie. And we started being like, hey, like there's enough of us to be like, like what's up, what's going on. And so we started meeting. That was the newest group that came on in May or June of last year, and we hit the ground running. We set some goals. We said, hey, we don't want to just be a think tank. We don't want to just come in the room and talk. We want to actually be boots on the ground and do some stuff. We've done some, and these are cool guys. Like I came in, I told them I was just like, listen, I don't have any military
Yeah.
experience. I don't have any family members that were military, but I totally honor the military community and everything they do. And Davey, I know that you've served, and I honor your service and thank you for
Thank
that,
you.
brother. But yeah, we just
Thank you.
started meeting really cool
Oh,
people
Brent,
and
Brent
connect.
is pretty cool.
Brett's a
Yeah,
good guy,
Brent is
man.
pretty cool, isn't he?
He's a cool guy.
Yeah.
We actually,
Yeah. No,
one of
I
the
met
things
I
we,
met him.
I was going to say, one of the things we did with Brent, he decided to do a crawfish boil for some of the military people.
Yeah. No, he I met him at a church. He came over. I was at my church and I was doing coffee. And he came over and I started talking to him because that's what I did in the coffee. It was a long story short. When I came to the church broken, it was a Marine behind the coffee bar that pulled me in and got me involved in the church when I was in my darkest time. And so I serve in the coffee bar and I run into vets and stuff and I get to pray for them and I get to talk to them and hoping that in some way, shape, or form, I could get them closer to Christ because I know that it helps. I know that it's better that way. But I saw Brent and Brent came through and I was talking to him and he was talking about purpose. And it's something that a lot of
Yep.
us veterans, we're feeling that. We're getting on the other side of things, and we're feeling, well, how could I serve? How can I? We always want to help, you know. So, Brent was in that purpose. And next thing you know, on the other end, I was talking with Ed Montgomery, who was the DA at the time, and William Wallace about getting that court established. And
Yeah.
then, about a month later, Master Guns is on there, and I'm going to have him on soon to talk about the Veterans Treatment Court. But what's
Awesome.
the biggest need that you've seen when it comes to veterans in this county?
Yeah, it's a great question. We've so we're actually in the middle of defining that, to be honest. We have a community survey that we've put out, and we're running that from August to December of this year. And with that exact question in mind, like what are the actual needs? Because I think what happens a lot is we do these initiatives or events based on perceived needs and not real data. And so our biggest thing is like, what are the demographics actually happening? We know a little bit about that. We know we have an aging population. We know that in general, that Gen X, they're kind of the ones that are the biggest population right now within Ellis County. But we also know that,
That
you
would be
know, yeah, we know with that we don't know what we don't know. So that was our biggest thing was for 2026, like we don't want to start doing anything until we've gathered the data, we've done the surveys, we've combed through all that stuff and can say, hey, based on these surveys that we've done, like we can lean back on that and we can say, hey, let's let's look at Gen X military community, like what defines Gen X, what are they experiencing, and meet those things. Where coffee a coffee talk could be cool for this group, maybe a gaming lobby could be cool for another group, or softball could be cool for a different group. And so we just want to make sure that we're gathering that data effectively. And so if you're a service member, if you're a veteran, or if you're a family member, that's the other thing is those family members often become the caretakers for veteran spouses. And so we want to make sure that in 2026 that we're thinking about initiatives for them as well. It's completely confidential, and so there's no personal information attached to that survey. But yeah, we're trying to get that out to as many people as possible, and so that we can get good data for the county to use to build out initiatives. So again, going back to your question, I don't know. It's hard to say what the biggest need is until we get that data.
And I wanted to have you on to talk about that survey because that's a good thing. Trying to find out the scale of what that community needs in the county and doing it on a large scale. How can people get to that survey? And is it something you could go to our website? Maybe we could scroll through that.
Absolutely. So we are actually housing on the website. It's also you can also contact us via email at info@uniteellis.org. We have different events that we have different people at. So all across the county, and we have that QR code at all the chambers. So businesses can get involved with that. Yeah. So we're trying to get the word out as much as we can through different people and organizations. All the veteran organizations within Ellis County have access to it. So on the VFW, the VA, the Veterans Treatment Court, Texas Veterans Network has been pushing it out. And so, yeah, city council people.
I wanted to show your website, and I'm showing it right now with Unite Ellis. You guys can go to that at uniteellis.org. I'm actually been scrolling that throughout the show. Check it out, the stuff that they offer, and what is, and this is something that I ask whenever I have nonprofits or somebody, and I'm hoping to have Ellis County Child Advocacy, Leslie. They're a great group. I want to have them on here soon, but I always ask, what is the biggest need and how could you get involved?
Yeah, so in terms of the military community or Unite Ellis as a whole.
Unite Ellis, your organization, the way you're going to be going throughout this county, if somebody wants to get involved to help you get this survey, help you do whatever it is that you guys, the many different things that you guys do, can you get donations? Can the community donate to you? How can they volunteer?
Absolutely. So on our website, there's a get help page and a give help page. So those are two things that we're pushing out the most right now. So get help, that is, you put in a zip code and basically, and you put in your need. If you go to programs, under programs, there should be a drop down menu. Yeah, there you go. If you go to those,
Yeah, it says get help and give help. Yep, get help and give help.
yeah. So if you click on get help, we have a hotline number, and that can get you connected to a resource coordinator. Or if you're like, I need resources now and I don't have time to talk to a resource coordinator, if you scroll down, you can get to a place to put in your zip code, and then if you click search, it'll populate a bunch of stuff, resources that service your zip code. And so then you can start clicking at, yeah, what zip code are you in? Perfect.
I'm
All
doing
all
right now. Let's see, because it was already shown.
all Yeah, all Ellis County zip codes. So yeah, so you have tons of programs that service that zip code. So then you would, from the top, you would click food or housing or goods. You would click those areas of like what is your need you're wanting. So let's say you click on education, it's going to populate all the things for your zip code that are related to education. And
Wow,
so
this is an amazing resource.
yeah, so that's a big thing we're
This
pushing
is
out
an
right now.
but
Yeah, and with that, we're actually asking for volunteers who would act as resource coordinators to respond to the hotline, because one of the biggest needs I think we have in the county is like people just want somebody to listen to their story, kind of like what you're doing with the Ellis Talker. You're getting people on, you're hearing people's stories, you're getting the word out, and on an individual level, it's the same way. People just want to let their stories be known. So resource coordinators listen to that story. They can help navigate resources in the way of like, let's say this person in this organization like is really good and we've vetted them, we have a good relationship, we can direct people to them. Or maybe this organization over here is out of bill assistance, so instead of this person going over there and finding out they have no bill assistance, we can help them navigate that to maybe take that out of the equation, because our thing is resource coordination should be effective and efficient. So we have a care champion that's coordinating a volunteer team of resource coordinators. So that's one way to get involved. Another way to get involved is that we have incredible partner organizations. So if you go to Give Help page, you can see all of the volunteer opportunities that are listed there across the county for those organizations. Or if your organization has volunteer opportunities, we've put a form of a way that you could house that volunteer opportunity on the Unite Ellis page. Yeah, and then if people are, want to give towards Unite Ellis and the efforts we do a lot with children's and families in crisis. We do a lot with the military community. We do a lot of moving the needle forward on mental health and housing. And so every dollar goes back to specifically helping the county thrive.
wow, I love what your organization is doing, and I'm glad that I was able to get you on to talk about this. Go to uniteellis.org, folks, if you need something or if you want to help, and I hope you will help, because they are in this community, in your community, in Ellis County, where I cover the county that I love, the cities within that county that I've gotten to love and know so many people. There's so many people that need help right now, and the need is great. So if you find some time to be able to help in any way, I encourage you to. Thank you so much, Chris, for coming on, man. I really appreciate what you do. Keep pushing, brother. God bless you.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me on, DV.